Hello, everyone. In times of coronavirus and not able to leave the house and have our classes in the classroom, this is what we could come up with. So today, for English B1 at Escola Learning Solutions, we will be looking at New Headway Pre-Intermediate Chapter 3. At the very beginning of the chapter, I'll start this for you so you can see what I'm talking about. At the very beginning of the chapter, what's in the news? Walking the Amazon. So here we will be looking at past simple and past continuous. Past simple or a simple past. If you look at different grammar books, you might find simple past, you might find past simple. They all mean the very same thing. Simple past. I walked. He washed the dishes. I studied. He cleaned the dishes. That's simple past. And it's normally associated with something that just happened and you have a time frame where you can say it happened. For example, I watched TV last night. I talked to my friend on the phone 2 minutes ago. So when you give a specific point in time. Something else we'll be looking at are adverbs. Adverbs. How you do something. I cleaned the dishes happily. So how did I clean the dishes? Happily. I walked fast to school. So I walked really, really fast. How did I walk? Really, really fast. So that's adverb. So at the very top of your page, you have the contents that will be studied. All the contents that will be studied right here. At the top of your page. So past simple and also adverbs. Now, past continuous is something else we're going to be talking about. Usually past continuous has something to do with an action that was taking place and was interrupted by something else. Let me open. Here we go. English B1, Escola Learning Solutions. Let's look at some examples. Simple past. I walked to school. Simple past. I walked to school yesterday. That's simple past or past simple. Past continuous. Past continuous. I was walking to school, and then past simple. When I heard a noise. I was walking to school when I heard a noise. Let me remove myself from the picture so you can see the entire thing. There we go. Past continuous. I was walking to school. Past simple. When I heard a noise. So you can actually use past continuous and past simple in the same sentence. In the first part of the sentence, you talk about what was happening. The second part of the sentence here, an action that was taking place was interrupted. I was walking to school, bam, when I heard a noise. So those are some of the topics that we will be discussing in chapter 3. Adverbs: slow, fast, quickly, happily, angrily. Adverbs: how you do things. So past continuous, past simple, adverbs. Those are the 3 main topics we'll be discussing. The very first page of chapter 3. What's in the news? Well, if you ask me now what's in the news right now, coronavirus. We don't talk about anything else. But let's remove ourselves from that reality for a bit and take a look at what the page of the book says. Walking the Amazon. Amazing journey ends after 6,000 miles. Ed Stafford became the first man in history to walk the length of the Amazon River from the source to the sea. He walked for 860 days. The journey began in April 2008 when Ed left the town of Camaná on the Pacific coast of Peru. It ended in August 2010 when he arrived in Maruda on the Atlantic coast of Brazil. He went through 3 countries: Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. Of course, I'm all excited. I was born there. The journey took nearly 2.5 years. I did it for the adventure, says Ed. Here's what I want you to do now. I want you to look at this passage, and I want you to look at all the verbs in the past. All the verbs in the simple past. Actions that took place. Things that happened. So let's observe here what we have. There we go. The first verb in the past here, became. Became is the past of the verb to become. In Norwegian, it can be translated obli. To become, obli. Became, ble. The next verb that's in the past here, he walked. Walked. Walked is the past tense of the verb to walk. In Norwegian, å gå. Do not translate the verb å gå from Norwegian into to go, because that's not what it means. Å gå means to walk. Å gå, to walk. So he actually walked. He was on foot for 860 days. Another verb here, began. Began is the past of the verb to begin. Å begynne, å starte. The next verb in the past here, left. Ed left the town of Camaná on the Pacific coast of Peru. So he left. Left is the past of the verb to leave. Left. It ended in August 2010 when he arrived in Maruda on the Atlantic coast of Brazil. So here, ended is the past of to end. To end. Arrived. Here's another verb in the past. Arrived is the past of to arrive. Another verb in the past here, went. He went. Went is the past of to go. And remember, to go in our region would be å dra. Not to go as in on foot only, but you can go somewhere by car. So in our region, it would be to go would be å dra. He went through 3 countries, Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. The journey took nearly 2.5 years. Took is the past of to take. I did it for the adventure. Did is the past of to do. So here you have all the verbs that are in the past. I'm going to remove myself again from here. Hopefully the sound is still on. So let's go back to this. Here we have some verbs: to go, past tense, went. To end, past tense, ended. To stop, past tense, stopped. To begin, past tense, began. To study, past tense, studied. One thing that you may have noticed with all of those is some of these verbs end in ed in the past. Arrived, stopped, talked, walked, danced, called. And some of those don't. For example, went, came, began. So these verbs that end in ed in the past, they're called regular verbs. Uregerette verb would be these ones. Uregerette. Uregelrette. They're irregular verbs because they don't end in ed. And there are lots of those. And one thing to remember is that when you ask a question, for example, when did the journey begin? You already have did right here. Not there, here. Did. I didn't mean to highlight the, I meant to only highlight. Did. But anyway, so when did the journey begin? So because you already have did right there, you don't need to write begin in the past tense because it's the word did that indicates that the verb is in the past. The same thing can be said for a statement in the negative form. I didn't speak to Tony. I didn't speak to Tony. So I don't need to change the verb speak into the past tense form because it's the word didn't that indicates it's in the simple past. The same thing goes for I did not speak to Tony. So avoid contractions if you're writing academic papers, if you're writing formal types of letters or documents, but in everyday conversation and informal situations, feel free to use those forms if you want. I will save the file with everything I'm writing on the whiteboard here, and everybody that wants one can email me and I'll send you a copy of everything that's being written at this moment on the whiteboard, so nobody's going to miss out on anything. Let's continue. So this entire chapter will deal with simple past, past continuous, lots of adverbs, happily, angrily, How were you looking at me? I was looking at you angrily. How? Angrily. How was I cooking that dinner? I was cooking that dinner happily. So those words are adverbs. The adjective is happy. Adjective. Happily is the adverb. The adjective, angry. Michael was angry at Jennifer. So because Michael was angry at Jennifer, he looked at her angrily. That's the adverb. So these types of words, angrily, happily, those are the manner in which somebody does something. Let's go back to the book. 3.1, Walking the Amazon. Now we're going to go to 3.2. This is 3.3. I'm going to need 3.2. 3.2. Questions and answers. You would actually listen to this on an audio file. But in times of coronavirus, we're doing this online like this, so we're doing it live and as dynamically as possible. Dynamically, adverb. Dynamic, adjective. What's in the news? Questions and answers. How far did Ed walk? He walked 6,000 miles. When did the journey begin? It began in April 2008. Where did the journey end? It ended in Maruda, on the Atlantic coast of Brazil. Brazil. I always get excited. I was born there. Can't help it. Which countries did he go through? He went through Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. How long did the journey take? It took nearly 2.5 years. Now, normally, if you're sitting in a classroom, this would be the time when you would work in pairs and ask each other, how far did Ed walk? When did his journey begin? Where did the journey end? Which countries did he go through? How long did the journey take? Why did he do it? You would ask each other. But we're going to have to improvise on this one. So, if you want to, and that's entirely up to you, everybody has a phone, a smartphone nowadays. I'm going to shoot with 99% of the population here in Norway has one. Get your phone if you want to. I'm not saying you have to. If you want to, get your phone, record yourself saying the sentences, asking the questions, and answering them. Make an audio file and send me that audio file either via email, or you can try via Facebook, but depending on the size of the file, it's not going to come through, but you can try to. This way, I can listen to your pronunciation and I can send you feedback, also an audio file. There's also going to be a possibility for you to be on a video conference with me of up to 5-10 minutes, because we have 6 people in the class, English B1. So I can offer 5 to 10 minutes tops, so I can fit everyone in. And you can contact me either via Skype, and let me write down my Skype that you can contact me. This is just an idea. We have to be creative in times of coronavirus. It's not my email, actually. Let me write down Skype. And it's all in small letters. Pollyanna. Nielsen, like that. That's my Skype. We can have video conferences there. Or you can send me an audio file to my email, and I can listen to it and then send you feedback. We're going to have to be creative, patient, and hope that everything will work out. And it will. It will. Everything is going to be fine. Let's continue where we left off. We looked at 3.2. Now we're moving on to 3.3. I'm going to open the page on here. There it is. 3.3. So like I said before, had we been sitting in the classroom, we would be listening to an audio file, but because we're not, then here's what we have. I'll read it to you. You can listen and try to fill in the blanks or do the exercise that you have in front of you. 3.3. What was Cho doing when he met Ed? He was working in the forest. Where were they walking when they saw the tribe? They were walking in a very dangerous part of the forest. Why did the tribe think Ed was crazy? Because he was walking the Amazon for an adventure. So this entire chapter talks about adventures, trips. So I am definitely going to have you talk about your adventures as well. This is 3.3. The next one will obviously be 3.4, Ed's blog. So he talks about the day he nearly died. So I'm going to read it for you. The day I nearly died. Today I was walking next to the river when I nearly stood on a snake. I stopped immediately. The snake's fangs were going in and out. I was terrified. I didn't move. One bite, and you're dead in 3 hours. So here you have some verbs. Walk, stand, stop, go, and then not to move. Meaning you're supposed to write that last one, that last sentence, in the past. Let me get myself out of the picture so that you can see this better. And I'm gone. There it is. I'm gone. And all you can see is the screen. So I'm talking about Ed's blog. So here you have walk, stand, stop, go, and not move. And you're supposed to put in all the verbs in the past because he's recounting events that already took place. Events that took place in the past. And notice that there is a date here. When did this happen? On the 12th of July. When did this happen? On the 12th of July. So this is something that happened and stayed there in the past. So we're using past simple. Today I walked next to the river when I nearly stood on a snake. I stopped immediately. So how did I stop? When did I stop? So the manner or the time frame, how did he do it? Immediately. Umiddelbart. Immediately. That's an adverb. The snake's fangs were going in and out. So here's an action that was taking place. It wasn't just one action that went bam and happened and stopped. It was something that was happening. An ongoing action. The snake's fangs were going in and out. And again, we're going to use were going because it's plural. I was. You were. He was. We were. You guys were. They were. In the case here, the snake's fangs, they were. They were going in and out. I was terrified. So how did he feel when we talk about terrified here as an adjective describing how he was feeling? I was terrified. We use the ed here, not the ing, because ing would be a situation. The situation was terrifying. I was terrified. Not move. So here where you have not move, I didn't move, or I did not move. I'm getting back into the picture. And there I am again. So here, what's in the news? We're talking about things in the past. Usually when you provide people with news, even if it just happened, you will tell them that it happened. So you will most likely use the simple past. So what happened? I fell. When did you fall? I fell 2 minutes ago. When did you fall? How did you fall? I was trying to fix the wall. I was trying. I was in the middle of doing something, and then I was interrupted by my fall. I fell. So I was doing something, and that action was interrupted. There's going to be a lot of focus on past continuous in this chapter. So let me write what I just said. I was fixing the wall, and I fell. The action that was in place was fixing. And then I was interrupted. To interrupt, å avbryte, and I fell. I was fixing the wall, and I fell. Jake was playing pool when the phone rang. So there was an action taking place that was interrupted. The action was Jake was playing pool. Was playing. He was playing. And all of a sudden, the phone rang. So 2 actions were taking place. One action interrupted the other. The phone rang. So words like when and while will be largely used when using the past continuous. Mariah was washing the dishes while she was singing. Or she was singing while she was washing the dishes. What is the difference between this type of sentence here, where I have was washing dishes, I have the present continuous, the past continuous, past continuous, past continuous, was washing, was singing, past continuous. So it was an action that was taking place in the past. Here there wasn't an interruption. There wasn't an interruption at all. Det var ingen avbrytelse. There wasn't an interruption. The two things were happening at the same time. She was washing the dishes and she was singing at the same time. So instead of using when, I'm going to use the word while. Imens in our region, or mens. Jeg vasket håret mens jeg sang la 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 la, washing the dishes, singing la la. So you were doing something and you're also doing something else. Two things at the same time, while. One action gets interrupted by the next when. Very important stuff. Remember, everything that's on this whiteboard, I'm just going to save the entire document and I'm going to send it to you if you want it. So there's no need to panic and no need to be like, no, stop, I haven't finished writing it down. No panic whatsoever. Besides, this video is going to live on the internet forever and you can watch it time and time again, so you don't need to worry. Let's keep going. What's in the news? So here you have this very adventurous story that this guy is telling of things that happened. Here's one thing that you can also do. You can write a story and send it to me. The next part of Ed's blog 3.4, I might have to remove myself from the picture again for us to do this because I'm covering some of it. There we go. Ed's blog, 10th of September, knives and guns. Early this morning, we were crossing the river by boat when we saw 5 canoes. Bam, exactly what I was talking about. There was something happening. What was happening? We were crossing the river. And then bam, what happened that interrupted that? We were doing something and we stopped and we saw 5 canoes. So the first part of the sentence, we were crossing, is in the past continuous. The second part of the sentence, when we saw 5 canoes, because that action took place immediately, it just happened, boom, we saw it. And the action of crossing the river is an action that takes more time. They were doing it. They were crossing the river. And they were interrupted when they saw the canoes. The tribesmen were carrying knives and guns. They were angry because we didn't have permission to be on their land. We left as fast as we could. That is 3.5. So here we have some verbs. Cross. Early this morning, we were crossing the river by boat when we saw 5 canoes. See? Saw is the past. The tribesmen were carrying knives and guns. They were angry because we didn't have permission to be on their land. We left as fast as we could. So here let's look at all the elements in this passage. Fast is an adverb. So how did they leave? Fast. How? How did they do it? How did they perform that action? Fast. And here, angry. They were angry. So angry here is the adjective. How were they feeling? Not how they did something, but how they were feeling. They're adjectives to describe somebody's feelings. They were angry. didn't have permission to be on their land, left as fast as we could. The 24th of November on Ed's blog, The Jungle at Night. I was lying in my hammock last night trying to sleep, but it was impossible because the noise of the jungle was so loud. Monkeys were screaming in the trees, and millions of mosquitoes were buzzing round my head. I took a sleeping pill and finally fell asleep at 3 a.m. So here we have the verb to lie. Not to lie as in lie to somebody, but lie as in lying down. You can lie down on a bed, you can lie down on the floor, you can lie down. You lie down to sleep, you lie down to take a nap, or just to rest, you can lie down. It's an intransitive verb, because as soon as you say, I was lying down, that's it. That's your action right there. You don't need to say anything else. But usually when you lay something, then you lay something somewhere. We're going to go through the explanations of to lie and to lay very carefully later on. Right now, we're going to look at this and complete with the correct verbs. So here, number 11, was lying in my hammock last night, trying to sleep. But it was impossible because the noise of the jungle was so loud. Monkeys were screaming in the trees. So here we have monkeys, past. Monkeys were screaming. They were screaming. If it had been just one monkey, a monkey was screaming. But here we have monkeys, plural. Monkeys were screaming in the trees, and millions of mosquitoes were buzzing round my head. I took a sleeping pill and finally fell asleep at 3 a.m. Past of to fall, fell, past of to take, took, buzz. Mosquitoes were buzzing. Were, again, the same case as in monkeys. They were buzzing, they were screaming, because we have monkeys, plural, mosquitoes, plural. That's the reason. So Ed is telling his adventures in the past. So of course he has to use verbs in the past so that he can explain things that already happened or that were happening. Pronunciation. I believe in past classes we talked about the sounds of the words. If a verb in their infinitive form has a very non-vibrant last sound, the very last sound that you hear. Let's take the first one there. Stop. That P, if you touch your throat as you say stop, that P is not very vibrant. You don't feel your throat vibrate when you say that. So it falls under the category in the middle. Stopped. Sounds like a T in the end. Stopped. Stay. Stayed. Stayed. Sounds like a D in the end. You don't pronounce the E, just the D. Stayed. Then you have the verb decide. In the infinitive form, the verb decide already ends in a d sound. Every verb that ends in either d or t in their infinitive forms, they will have the entire syllable pronounced. Decide, decided. Let's take a look at the next one. Study. It's very vibrant in the end. Study. So it's going to fall under the category here. It sounds like a D. Studied. Laugh. If you just do that, there's no vibration in your neck when you say that. So it goes under the second category here. Laugh, laughed. I'm going to demonstrate this better for you on here, where I can actually put the words in there, or try. It's kind of hard to write with the mouse, but I'm gonna try. Okay. So here, stayed, and we also have studied. Studied. My handwriting normally looks like the cross between a serial killer and a doctor, and it's going to look a lot worse when I'm writing in here. So forgive me for this, and if you have any complaints, go talk to coronavirus that made us do this from home. Stayed, studied. Laugh. There's no vibration, so it comes here in the middle. Laughed. Okay, not my best moment trying to write with my mouse. Left. As long as you remember, it sounds like a teen end. Laughed. Want. It already ends in a T, so it falls under this category here. Wanted. Wanted. And you will hear in American English people saying wanted. I wanted to go. I wanted to go. You won't really hear the T, but you will hear the entire syllable being pronounced. Look. Most of these verbs ending in a K sound, they will be here. Look, looked. Sounds like a T. Looked. Wow, this looks really bad, but it could be worse. Decide, decided. Play. Played. Sounds like a D in the end. Played. Doesn't look pretty, but you get the picture. Phone. See how vibrant? If you try to just do the sound n, it's very vibrant. All of those vibrant sounds, they will fall under this category here, and they will sound like a D when you pronounce the verbs in the past. Phoned. 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 Then you have the verb mend. Already ends in a D, so the past tense will be mended. You get to pronounce the entire syllable. Mended. To mend is almost the same as to fix. Mend. To mend a broken heart. I'm sure you've heard it in romantic songs. Answered. The R is always very vibrant. Answered. So it's going to be here under this column. Did I skip one? I think I did. This is not an H. It's supposed to be an N. Let's see. There we go. It's not an H, it's an N. Answered. Answered. It's very vibrant. It's pronounced as a D. Answered. I believe the word that let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we have 12 words. I think this was the one that I skipped. Work. Again, all of those words that end in all of those verbs with a K in the end, they're non-vibrant. So they're going to sound like a T in the end. Worked, worked, worked. And there we have it. So we have, that's not what I was supposed to do, but I'm going to try this again. Let's see. Yes, there I am. Okay, so now here's my blank document again. Okay, so verbs ending in a T or D sound in their infinitive form will have the sound id in the past tense. He decided to work from home. She reported him to the police. He recorded all her conversations. She mended her broken heart. Remember, you're going to get a copy of this sent to you if you ask me for it. So this ends the first portion of this class, the first 45 minutes. There will be another video with the second part of it.